Like a lot of other mainstream brands, Hyundai's been playing a game of hybrid catch-up, because in terms of sales for new cars in the Aussie market, it's a case of Toyota first and Daylight second. That said, Hyundai's been on board the hybrid train since back in 2019, and it's all over battery electric vehicles. But it's cars like this, a new hybrid variant of the Tucson midsize SUV, the Korean giant hopes will help it bridge the gap to the market leader. It arrives at the same time as a cosmetic refresh as well as a safety and tech upgrade across the Tucson lineup. And we're behind the wheel for a first local drive. So, does this car have what it takes to take a bite out of the Toyota RAV4 Hybrid that dominates the medium SUV category? Let's find out. The medium SUV segment sees more than 20 competitors cage fighting for market share. Non-plug-in hybrid options within range of the Tucson include the GWM Haval H6, Honda ZR-V, Kia Sportage, Nissan X-Trail, and of course, the all-conquering Toyota RAV4. We're focused on the new Tucson Hybrid for this review, which, like the internal combustion models, offers 3 grades. The front-wheel drive only Tucson Hybrid kicks things off at a fraction over $45,000 before on-road costs, followed by the Elite in front-wheel drive at just over $50,000 and all-wheel drive for $2,500 more. Then, at the top of the Tucson Hybrid pyramid, the premium all-wheel drive comes in at just under $60,000. And you can opt for an N-Line package on all of them, adding an extra $4,100 on the entry model, $2,500 on the Elite, and $1,500 on the Premium. More on the N-Line pack shortly. At around $45,000, it's fair to expect a healthy standard features list. And aside from the safety and performance tech we'll get to shortly, the entry-grade Tucson Hybrid does well. For all the details, check out my written review at carsguide.com.au. But the highlights are a 12.3-inch multimedia screen, Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, 6-speaker audio, keyless entry and start, a leather-trimmed steering wheel, 18-inch alloys, and all LED exterior lights. Then the Elite adds leather-appointed seats, a larger 12.3-inch digital instrument cluster, a power-adjustable driver's seat, and heaps more. While the Premium tips in with 12-speaker Bose sound, a panoramic glass sunroof, 12-inch head-up display, and 19-inch rims, among other goodies. Blink and you'll miss the exterior design changes to the updated Tucson Hybrid, which are limited to a new grille insert, different lower bumper treatment, and updated LED headlights, including this cluster right there, as well as a similarly reworked bumper, inclusion of LED taillights, and a fresh arrangement for these lower light clusters. Plus, a flush treatment of the Hyundai logo in the rear glass allows a broader sweep of the tailgate wiper. The big news inside is this dual screen curved media and instrument display on the top of the dash, and the move to a shift-by-wire controller for the transmission on the steering column, which frees up space for this floating center console, including an upgraded wireless device charging pad. The N-Line option pack mentioned earlier brings unique 19-inch alloy wheels, a specific grille, skid plates front and rear, revised bumpers, side skirts, gloss black exterior elements, tinted taillight lenses, and twin exhaust outlets. Inside there are leather and suede appointed sports seats, gloss black and dark metal finishes, alloy scuff plates, alloy covered pedals, a steering wheel with perforated leather grips, and more. The Tucson Hybrid is powered by a 1.6-litre turbo-petrol 4-cylinder engine, driving the front or all 4 wheels through a 6-speed automatic transmission that has a synchronous electric motor attached to it that's powered by a compact lithium-ion battery. Combined outputs are healthy. For the details, check out our written review on the CarsGuide site. But in a significant shot across the Toyota RAV4 Hybrid's bow, the Tucson sees off the category hero in terms of power. The available all-wheel drive system uses a multi-plate wet clutch pack on the rear diff to allow the car to move from its default front-wheel drive setting to as much as a 50-50 split between the front and rear axles. At close to 4.7 metres long, nearly 1.9 metres wide, and a bit less than 1.7 metres tall, the Tucson is a large medium SUV. At 183 centimetres tall, I've got plenty of breathing room in here, helped in no small part by this dual screen curved array on the top of the dash. Big tick also for manual controls for the heating and ventilation and audio on this lower panel. And in terms of storage, you've got this floating center console, which includes a big lidded bin, doubles as an armrest. You've got the new wireless device charging pad, a lower area under here, which is a whole other world of capacity for things that you've got, and 2 cup holders in the center. So not bad on that score.
That's supported by bins in the doors with room for bottles and a decent glove box with an open shelf in the dash above it.
And in the back, sitting behind the driver's seat, set for my position, I've got just heaps of legroom, lots of headroom, and a recline function, which is kind of nice. Big thumbs up for the adjustable ventilation for back seaters as well. For storage, there's a bottle holder in the door, stretchy mat pockets here, and a couple of cup holders in the fold-down centre armrest.
Power and connectivity runs to 2 USB sockets in the front, one of them for streaming and or power, as well as the wireless charging pad with another 2 USB-Cs in the rear. There's also a 12-volt outlet in the dash and another in the boot. Speaking of which, the Tucson's boot offers 582 litres of storage space, with the second row upright, and 1,903 litres with the 60-40 split folding rear seats lowered. There are 6 tie-down anchors, a space-saver spare sits under the floor, and brake towing capacity is a useful 1,900 kilos for front and all-wheel drive hybrids. Hyundai's official combined cycle fuel economy figure for the Tucson Hybrid is 5.3 litres per 100 kilometres, which is miserly but can't quite match the RAV4 Hybrid at 4.8 litres per 100. On the launch drive program covering a mix of rural B roads and highway running, we recorded an average of 6.1 litres per 100. Still pretty handy and not too far off the official number. Fuel requirement is the cheaper 91 RON standard unleaded, and you'll need 52 litres of it to fill the tank, which translates to a range of roughly 850 kilometres using our real-world number.
So in terms of acceleration, a straight line, you can expect 0 to 100 km/h in about 8 seconds, which isn't too shabby. There's plenty of power, more than 170 kilowatts, and lots of pulling power, nearly 370 newton meters of torque. But the acceleration isn't immediate. It's not neck snapping like a pure EV. It builds pretty rapidly, but it builds. And you can also switch between eco, normal, and a sport mode, which dials things up a little bit. Even under load, the 1.6 litre Turbo 4 is commendably quiet, and the transition between internal combustion and electric propulsion is pretty much imperceptible. The shift-by-wire controller on the steering column for the 6-speed auto takes a bit of getting used to, but that transmission is smooth. And select sport mode, you'll go into the paddles being manual shifters rather than controllers for the regen braking, so you can get that little bit more involved. Suspension is by struts at the front and multi-links at the rear, and ride comfort is really good. The other thing is we're running on 19-inch rims. We're in the premium, the top spec model. It's running on Nexen tyres, and there's minimal noise. We're on a fairly coarse surface, and they're not really rumbling at all. And in the same vein, wind noise is very low. So the steering's nice and accurate, road feels good. Car weighs in at about 1.6 tonnes for the front-wheel drive, another 100 kegs for the all-wheel drive. Speaking of which, I'm not discerning a big difference between the front and all-wheel drive in terms of cornering, and as a backup, if you do overcook things a little bit and start to push into understeer, there's electronic torque vectoring to keep everything under control. Braking is by discs all round, ventilated up the front, and they're nice and strong. There's also regen braking, given we're in a hybrid, and it can operate in a smart way. That is, when you're coasting, it uses a million different sensors, including one that'll determine what gradient you're on, the sat-nav if it's fitted, the front camera, and many others, to tell when you can snatch back a bit of energy when you're just coasting along. So Hyundai, and its corporate sibling Kia for that matter, has had a troublesome internal kind of warning system in a lot of its cars for overspeed that will start to make an audible warning as soon as you're over the indicated speed for that road. It's meant sifting through a couple of menus to get rid of it each time. Now, a single button, press the audio mute button for a long press, and it's off immediately. So that's blessed relief, and that's going to be rolled out to other Hyundai models very soon. Another thing this car features is baby mode, which is news to me, and it means that accelerator inputs are softened off, particularly at low speed, and the drivetrain is managed such that if you happen to hit a concrete bollard with the tyres as you're backing into a spot, it softens that. So a small baby in a capsule or a kid in a child seat that's asleep stands a good chance of not being disturbed. That's amazing. It must be said that the turning circle is not exactly tight. At 11.8 metres, that's cutting a pretty wide arc, and you do find yourself making a 3-point turn where you're probably expecting to make a U-turn, so pretty big turning circle. The Tucson scored a maximum 5-star ANCAP assessment from testing in 2021, and onboard active crash avoidance safety tech is extensive.
Active crash avoidance tech highlights across the Tucson lineup include AEB, rear cross traffic alert and smart cruise control. If a crash is unavoidable, the airbag count runs to 7, including a front centre bag to minimise head clash injuries in a side-on impact. And there are 3 top tethers and 2 Isofix anchors for baby capsules or child seats across the second row.
Hyundai covers the Tucson with a 5-year unlimited kilometre warranty, which is still the norm in the mainstream market. Although it must be said, GWM, Kia and MG are at 7 years unlimited, and Mitsubishi offers a conditional 10-year 200,000 kilometre warranty.
The hybrid battery is covered by a separate 8-year 160,000 kilometre replacement warranty. The main service interval is 12 months 10,000 kilometres, which is a little shorter on distance than the more usual 12 months 15,000 kilometre period. Average cost for the first 5 years is $408 per workshop visit, which isn't outrageous, but well north of the Toyota RAV4 Hybrid at $260 per service for the same period.
At this car's launch, Hyundai Australia's managing director put it simply: the industry's all about hybrid. He's right. A hybrid Tucson is a critical addition to the brand's local lineup, and it's a good one. Even though wait times for the Toyota RAV4 Hybrid have come down from around 2 years not so long ago to just 4 months, steering this car before you sign on the dotted line is a must. Juncha!